We're following a historic moment unfolding right now. The largest prisoner exchange between the United States, its allies, and Russia since the end of the Cold War. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan are now heading home to the United States. And moments ago, the White House confirming German Chancellor Olaf Scholz told President Biden, quote, "For you, I will do this," when he agreed to free a Russian assassin that was the linchpin of this prisoner swap. Congressman Jared Moskowitz joins us now live. He's a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for sharing part of your afternoon with us. I want to get your reaction to this prisoner swap and what you think it means for U.S. relations.
Well, thanks, Boris. Thanks for having me. Well, first, look, I would be remiss to mention that I'm literally, 10 miles from where the family of Bob Levinson, one of the longest held hostages in U.S. history, was taken by Iran. What I saw today on TV was what I hope the Levinson family would see, and they didn't. And that's why what happened today is so important. It is definitely a victory for the United States. It's a huge win for these families, for their loved ones, for it to come home. It's a big win for the president, President Biden. It shows that, yes, allies matter. Having friends matters, that you can call and count on them when you need them. And so I'm happy to see the families reunited. It's good to know that diplomacy still works.
You mentioned the Levinson family and what they endured with their loved one being taken in Iran. I'm wondering if you see cases like this becoming more of a pattern, this sort of state-sponsored hostage-taking where rivals like Iran, Russia, or Venezuela target Americans specifically for leverage to then negotiate the release of actual criminals.
Yeah, look, I think there's evidence of that, Boris. And that's why we tell Americans not to go to certain places. But obviously, this country is going to do whatever they can to get back their citizens. And so, yes, it's a double-edged sword. Our enemies know that we'll do everything we can to get back our citizens. But what is the other choice? To leave Americans in these places? And so, look, that's why the travel warnings are important. But obviously, we're going to do everything we can that if Americans are taken hostage, we're going to do what we can to get them safely home.
I'd like to dig in on a portion of that, Congressman, because there's criticism from some on the right that this kind of deal actually encourages the arrest of more Americans. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's just nonsense. They're just mad that it happened under Joe Biden. They should just be honest, right? If Donald Trump got them back and we exchanged the prisoners that we had, they wouldn't care. So they're just making it partisan, which is a shame, because for these families, this is a big deal. And for the Levinson family that I had the honor to spend many years with as we were hoping to get Bob back, I know what it was like for them when he didn't come home. And so the idea that those folks are making this partisan and that we should leave these Americans there, I think the majority of American people find that preposterous.
Congressman, while we have you, I do want to pivot to some other international news because Israeli officials are saying that they're prepared for a response from Iran following the assassination in Tehran of Hamas's top political figure. Do you believe that Iran is going to attempt a direct strike in Israel in response?
Well, nobody knows, right? I mean, Iran doesn't have many options. They tried that several months ago. President Biden, the United States, put together a huge coalition with Israel, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and responded to those ballistic missiles that were fired towards Israel. That was a failed attempt by Iran. And this was obviously tremendously embarrassing that Israel was able to strike in the heart of Tehran, in the middle of the president coming to power there. And so I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, the hope is that we don't see escalation. But, look, Israel is doing exactly what the United States not only would have done, but did do. We moved heaven and earth to get Osama bin Laden. We did the same thing with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who just took a deal the other day, the perpetrators of 9/11. For Israel, 10/7 was their 9/11. So the idea that they're taking out the head of Hamas, is how this goes. And it's how we saw it in America after 9/11. No one in the world is going to miss him. He's a murderer. The same thing for the second in command of Hezbollah. He also was a murderer, killed hundreds of Americans. And so the world is a better place that these folks are gone. But obviously, we don't want the region to turn into a powder keg. But we should realize that everything that's going on right now, what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Lebanon, is all the strings are being pulled by Iran. And so we need to continue to build a coalition with our allies in the region, Israel and beyond, to keep Iran at bay, to make sure they don't get a nuclear weapon. Anyone who was curious about what that would be like, only take a look at the last year, basically, of what that would be like. And so we hope we don't see this expand to a regional war, but obviously I support Israel's response to what's been going on with Hezbollah and Iran.
Congressman Jared Moskowitz, we have to leave the conversation there. Appreciate you, sir.